Hi, everybody. How are you? I just came off of my lunch break in my own home, and sorry, I had to straighten out my camera there a second. I noticed that Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson just got confirmed as the next Supreme Court Justice. Now, here's some things that we need to note about this, because as I was listening to the news, I didn't see the actual confirmation hearing, I was just hearing it on the news. A couple of things that I noticed that were brought up in the news was that um, as the folks who voted for her stood up and applauded and cheered after her confirmation was approved, and that would be all of the Democrats basically, and excuse me, and three Republicans, that during that time, the Republicans, and I'm just stating it as a fact, I'm not saying all Republicans are like this, but the Republicans filed out rudely. I heard a number of them were late, weren't dressed properly, really showing disrespect for her and the office that she is being confirmed into. And, let's not sugarcoat it. We all know why. You've got a black woman, an accomplished black woman, who wears her hair in dreads. She got locks, okay? And we all know how historically and traditionally white bodied people feel about locks. Now, I'm not talking everybody, and I'm not talking about you unless it's you, but there's something about how black folks choose to honor their natural hair that pisses off a lot of white bodied people, that make them think less of those, to the point where there's rules about how you should wear your hair as a black person in high school. There's a lot of schools that have laws against, or throw people out, or make them cut their hair or their locks in order to graduate or to participate in some school activities. And so this is, I want to say, a microaggression, but this is purely a macroaggression if we're being real about it. This is a macroaggression that we now get to really see at its highest level. And so, are we really surprised about how mostly white Southern Republicans, I would say, and probably a lot of Republicans from other areas as well, but just that level of the white supremacy is pissed off and not happy about the fact that this highly qualified woman got nominated and approved to be a Supreme Court justice. The majority of them said they had no problem with her qualifications. She is hugely qualified. So, what did they have a problem with exactly? If you know, if you are brave enough to share what they had a problem with, specifically with confirming her nomination to the Supreme Court, I want to hear what you think, because I see a lot of things that they have problems with but just won't call it for what it is: racism and racist beliefs. They have problems with her hair. They have problems with her skin color. They probably have a huge problem with the fact that her husband is in a white body. And that's just the top three things that come to my mind: skin color, how she styles her hair, and this woman with dreads married a white man. That's like the trifecta for the KKK to do some racial terror lynchings on both her and her husband, and probably her children too. So, my point in sharing this little rant with you is There's so many points, but what is coming up for me is how bold and brazen, just like in Jim Crow South, these people who, white bodied people who voted against her, are about their racism and their racist ideologies and their supremacist ideologies and the white patriarchy. And they won't use the words, but actions speak louder than words. We learned that in the schoolyard. Actions speak louder than words. And how, what our country is resurfacing at such a high level in such high offices with racist ideologies, microaggressions, and macroaggressions to underserved communities is embarrassing, disgraceful, and disrespectful at the highest level. And it reminds me of what I get in my inbox every morning. On this date in racial injustice history, the Ku Klux Klan was honored at a church. The church, and a lot of these are evangelical Christians, and they will throw God in your face every chance they get. The church was the biggest supporter of white supremacy, and violent white supremacy at that. They were the biggest supporter of the KKK. I actually posted that today in my Facebook group, The Intimacy of Race. And if y'all haven't been in The Intimacy of Race, you need to get in there. Go to my Facebook group, The Intimacy of Race, because you will have access to everything that I'm unearthing and other people are sharing as well, to open your eyes about how history, I wouldn't even say it's repeating itself, but how it's showing itself in modern times. The historical racial indignities, injustices, and terror, lynchings, and violence looks different today. Not a lot different, but when you look at how the racist ideologies are not punished, they're not held accountable to them, they get to be what they are, and they get huge amount of support from various hate groups. It says something about our world and the world we live in today. And I just couldn't help but, as I was tearing up with the historical significance of Ketanji Brown Jackson being approved and confirmed as a Supreme Court justice, I started to think about all of the indignities and rudeness and huge disrespect that she was put under, that she had to endure with grace in those confirmation hearings. And let me tell you something, that's what 99.99% of Black females who are accomplished in any way, shape, or form have to endure in a Black and brown body in a white-centered world. We have to endure that. We have to prove that we are a bagazillion times more qualified than the least qualified white person to be accepted. We have to hold our tongue in so many instances of micro and macro aggressions, lest we be, because we looked at differently, unless we be labeled an angry Black woman or a revengeful Black person, or, see, I told you, Black people are angry. Black people are violent. Black people are scary. And I looked at the grace with which she handled all of the crap that was thrown at her. And I was saying to my husband, I was like, I don't know if I could do it. And I often say to my dad, who grew up in Jim Crow South, I don't know how long I would have lasted working in the fields under such inhumane conditions as a slave. I think I would have been lynched and tarred and feathered or whatever, everything else they did to us at an early age, because I don't think I could have endured with the grace that a lot of our ancestors have endured to see that we have this opportunity now. We as black people in black America have this opportunity now that we have to still be alive, use our voice, make a difference, whatever that looks like. I don't think I could have handled it. I'm too big of a mouth, and I have too much self respect and pride to deal with a lot of things that we are being asked on a daily basis, walking around in a black body in a white centered world, to deal with. And Lord knows I've had to deal with it. In my 30 plus years as a dental hygienist, I had to deal with little white ladies refusing to have me clean their teeth because I was black. I've had to deal with even Holocaust survivors refusing to have me clean their teeth because I was black. It's the white skin privilege, regardless of your ethnic background. If you've got white skin, you've got white privilege. And, it's interesting as I watch the example that Ketanji Brown Jackson set for Grace Under Pressure. I just only hope that I can be that too, because a lot of times the exhaustion gets the best of me. The exhaustion can beat my butt. So I want to hear your thoughts. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to um, be aligned with what I'm saying. But I do want to hear what the majority of people think about just everything I just said. Just everything I just said about being a black woman, especially one who's wearing her hair natural in locks, navigating in this white world. And if you could do it, if it were you, at such a high level, because I've got to do it at this little bitty level that I'm at, and it ain't easy. I can imagine. Oh my God, I can't imagine being so graceful under pressure, because they would have gotten the Jada eye roll from me, they would have got my mom's neck roll, and they would have gotten what my kids call the grandma eyes. Like, seriously? And we all know that look. Anyway, my rant is over for the day. Have an amazing day. And listen, hop into the Intimacy of Race. Make sure you join it, because tomorrow I'm going to have an amazing woman who's going to be talking about her book on anti racism. And her and I had this discussion about Ketanji Brown Jackson right after her nomination. And yeah, I want you to come in and join the discussion that we're going to have. It's tomorrow morning, Friday, I was going to say February, April 8th at 9 a.m. Pacific in the Intimacy of Race. Join us and, yeah, join the discussion, because I really want to hear what you have to say. All right. Thanks for tolerating me today, guys. Bye bye.